Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Black Health and Wealth Show. I am your host, Kevin Boyette. Here at the Black Health and Wealth Show, we like to educate, inspire, and uplift each and every one of our viewers. Now, today's episode is going to focus on safely reopening your church or house of worship after coronavirus. You may be asking yourself, how do I safely reopen this building under state and federal guidelines? Well, you know what? We've pulled together some of the best from around the country, and we're going to present that information to you today. Now, there are 9 specific areas that we're going to cover today in regards to safely reopening your church. The first is actually preparing the church, preparing that building for those folks to come back in and walk back up in there safely. Number 2, we're going to talk about service times and locations. Number 3, we're going to talk about the worship service itself. Number 4, we're going to talk about amenities or social hours before or after church service. Number 5, we're going to talk about your ushers, greeters, volunteers. Number 6, we're going to talk about Sunday school or small groups. Number 7, we're going to talk about your preschool and children. Number 8, we're going to talk about your musicians, the choir, the orchestra, your band, praise dancers, those types of individuals. And number 9, finally, we're going to talk about your AV and your tech team. Now, before we begin, I want you to understand, I've got a bunch of notes here, and I may be reading from them because this information is so important that I don't want us to miss a thing. More importantly, I don't want you to miss a thing. Okay, I want you to have every bit of information that you can have. In addition to that, the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to put timestamps down in the description of this video. So if there's an area that you want to review, go back and take more notes on, or if it's an area that doesn't pertain to you and your congregation, you can just skip over. Okay, so let's begin with preparing the church. Let's talk about preparing the church. Now, before you let anybody back in this building for a service, this building's got to be sanitized from top to bottom. You want to start ordering all of your cleaning supplies now. You want to start ordering hand sanitizer. You want to start ordering wipes, rags, sponges, extra masks for visitors. Now, you want to encourage your members of your congregation to bring their own sanitizer and bring their own mask. And you may be able to find members of your congregation that are willing to sew masks to donate to the church. A lot of folks are out here sewing masks and making masks right now. The other thing you want to do is you want to turn off the water fountain and cover it. It's not to be used. You want to mark your bathrooms for emergency use only. You want to make sure that the doors can be left open for no contact entry and exit. In addition to that, you might want to create a single point of entry and a single point of exit if that's possible. You want to determine if windows can be open so that you can get fresh air. You want to block off every other pew. Use outdoors if possible. And most importantly, you want to create an ongoing cleaning strategy. Let's move on to service times and locations. You want to adhere to state guidelines on the number of people that you can allow into the building. Most states are allowing somewhere between 25 and 40%. So what you want to do is have your members sign up online so that you can plan properly for their arrival. You also want to plan for unexpected visitors. Now, due to fears and health concerns, be sure to continue online services. Many churches have seen a surge in attendance once they offered their online services because now they can reach people from around the world. You want to offer multiple services so that you can encourage social distancing. But keep in mind that if you offer these multiple services, you will have to clean between each and every service. You're going to have to determine how many volunteers you're going to need for each service, and you want to try to find people who don't have compromised immune systems. Please use your social media platforms such as YouTube and Facebook to keep your members informed and to stay in touch with them. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of communication during this period of time. The final things that you want to do is you want to log everyone entering the building, making sure that you get all of their contact information. And by all means, please monitor temperature for those individuals entering the building. Now that we've cleaned and sanitized the church, Now that we've set our service times and locations, it is now time for that first worship service back in the building. Now, this is going to be a very, very special service. So you want to give your members an opportunity to give praise reports, to give testimonials. But more importantly, you want to give them an inspiring sermon. In addition to that, you still want to continue to log each and every person coming into the building, monitoring temperatures if possible. You want to encourage your members to give online. Online giving is picked up during this period of time. Now, you will still have some members that want to bring their offering to church, but there's no more passing of baskets or plates or anything like that. You want to have a central location where they can drop their offering off as they enter the building. If possible, you want to make sure that that is a secure box or something like that. Now, people from the same household can sit together. However, the person sitting next to them must be at least 6 feet away, and you still want to encourage using every other pew. You want to avoid handing out bulletins, announcements, song lyrics, things like that. Should be placed on monitors or some type of screen. Communion, of course, is going to be different. It is encouraged that you use the pre-filled cups for communion with the wafer on top. Now, the only problem with that is you may have individuals with arthritis or some seniors that may have difficulty opening up those cups. So you might want to have some volunteers available with some gloves on that can go around and open up this packaging for them. You want to find new and entertaining ways to greet each other. I've seen people do air fist bumps, air hugs, those kinds of things, blow kisses. So come up with some entertaining ways to greet one another. There's no more passing the microphones, for obvious reasons, of course, but you can get disposable covers for mics that you can put on, and after each use, they can be disposed of. And you also want to dismiss in an orderly fashion that encourages social distancing. Let's move on to amenities. Now, a lot of churches and places of worship like to offer coffee, tea before or after service. These things are highly discouraged, as well as church dinners and things like that. In terms of your restrooms, if you don't feel like your restrooms are ready to be open or ready for use, you don't have sanitizer or enough cleaning materials, then you might want to consider whether you even want to reopen your building. And by all means, please make sure that sanitizer is available all over your building. If you have stalls, you might even want to stick some sanitizer in there as well. Now let's talk about some very important folks that are going to be vital when the building is open back up. And that's your ushers, your greeters, and your volunteers. These are going to be some of the very first people that the members are going to see when they come back to the building. But you must remind them that there's no handshaking, no hugging, no kisses on the cheek, no physical contact with members as they're entering the building. The other thing that you might want to consider is if you have any members that are in law enforcement, either currently or formerly, utilizing them because they're used to dealing with crowd control. And you may also need to supplement this group with some younger members or folks that aren't predisposed to possibly getting sick. You want to make sure the doors are propped open. Your ushers, greeters, and volunteers are probably going to be the ones that log people coming into the building. You're going to take the temperature checks. They're going to ensure that social distancing takes place. And they're probably going to determine the procedures on how to handle late arrivals or if the church has already reached its capacity. Now on to small groups in Sunday school. You need to follow all state guidelines when it comes to small groups, but you want to try to encourage those online meetings. But if people do decide to come in and meet, make sure that they thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly, clean afterward. Let's talk about our children. You may even have a preschool at your building. Please keep in mind that children under 2 years of age should not wear masks. Now, if you're required to wear a mask, please be mindful of the type of mask that you choose. You do not want to choose a mask that's going to scare or intimidate these kids. You also might want to have your volunteers or adults that are working with these children not have compromised immune systems, or be under 65 years of age. You want to have a central pickup and drop-off point. You want to clean each room thoroughly after use. But most of all, you want to make sure that your volunteers and the individuals working with these children are properly trained. So now you may be asking yourself, well, what about the music? Well, guess what? We got that covered. The choir, the musicians, the praise team, liturgical dancers. You might want to create smaller groups. You may end up with multiple choirs now instead of one big mass choir. So you can have smaller groups that encourage social distancing. You want to use the same microphone and either clean it or sanitize it after each use or replace that disposable cover. Brass and woodwind players are highly encouraged to bring towels with them to catch any spit that may hit the floor. Choir robes are discouraged. They take up additional space. They got to be cleaned after each use. And you got to have a place where folks can change in and out of those choir robes. The other thing you want to do is you want to wipe down all instruments and music stands at the end of each and every service. And if you're having multiple services, just know that you have to make time for this. And finally, our AV and tech team. Real simple, folks. Clean mics, headphones, computers, laptops, any video equipment after each use. Use products, though, that are specific for electronics. Don't just go taking no soap and water. You need to rotate your tech team. Keep using online services. Consider using streaming live to YouTube or Facebook Live so that you can reach more people. And screens and projectors should be installed for announcements, bulletins, song lyrics, etc. We brought that up earlier. So there you have it, the best practices for reopening your church or house of worship safely. Now, if you like this video, let us know. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. But more importantly, we want you to share this video with each and every person that you think that it could possibly help. And on that note, this is Kevin Boyette, and this episode of the Black Health and Wealth Show is coming to an end. Peace and love, people. God bless.